Now Karori system. In 1573, Akbar did a third change, where he gave up the annual assessment and appointed the Karoris all over North India. The Karoris were to collect a crore of dams as revenue and to check the facts and figures supplied by the Kanungos, Kanungos, Kanungos regarding the actual produce, state of cultivation, local prices, etc. Dahasala system, Dahsala system, Dahasala system, Dahsala. Then in 1580, the Karori system was given up and Raja Todarmal introduced a new Dahsala system or Zabti system. This remained a standard system of revenue assessment during the greater part of the Mughal Empire. In the Dahsala system, the land was classified in 4 categories. First, Polaj, land which was cultivated every year, never left fallow. Second, Parati or Parauti, land which had to be left fallow for a time, enable it to recover fertility. Chachar, land which had to be left fallow for 3 or 4 years. Banjar, land which remained uncultivated for 5 years or more. First, Polaj, land which was cultivated every year and never left fallow. Second, Parati or Parauti, Parauti and Parati, land which had to be left fallow for a time to enable it to recover fully. Then Chachar, land which had to be left fallow for 3 or 4 years. And Banjar, land which had to be left uncultivated for 5 years or more. Now, Polaj or Parauti land were classified into 3 categories: good, middle and bad. And the average produce per bigha of these categories was taken as the normal produce of a bigha. Parauti land when cultivated paid the same revenue as Polaj land. The Chachar and Banjar lands were charged a concessional rate which was progressively increased to full or Polaj rate, 1/3 of the produce, by the 5th or the 8th year. Under the Dahsala system, an attempt was made to work out the revenue rates. The state demand was given in months, but for the conversion of the state demand from kind to cash, a separate schedule of cash revenue rates, Dastura Amas for various crops, was fixed. For a period of the previous 10 years, 1570 to 1580, information, yields, prices and area cultivated was collected for each locality. On the basis of the average prices of different crops in each locality over the past 10 years, the state demand was fixed in rupees per bigha. Each revenue circle had a separate schedule of cash revenue rates, Dastur-e-Imal, for various crops. Thus, the peasant was required to pay on the basis of local produce as well as local prices. Please note that Dahsala was neither a 10-year nor a permanent settlement, and the state had the right to modify it. Since this system was associated with Raja Todarmal, it is also known as Todarmal Bandobast. This system prevailed from Lahore to Allahabad and in the provinces of Malwa and Gujarat. During Shah Jahan era, it was introduced in the Deccan by Murshid Quli Khan. Other systems of Mughal era. During the reign of Akbar and his successors, 3 more systems of revenue system were prevalent. Batai or Galbakshi system, second was Kankut system, third was Nazak system. Now Batai or Gala Bakshi system, Batai Batai or Gala Bakshi, Galla Gala, Bakshi Bakshi, was a very old system which continued during the Mughal period. This was a simple method of crop sharing in which produce was arranged into heaps and divided into 3 shares, one of which was taken by the state. Under this system, the peasant had the choice to pay in cash or kind. Second was the Kankut system, Kankut. Kankut system was also an old prevalent method in which instead of actually dividing the grain, Kan, an estimate Kut was made on the basis of an actual inspection on the spot, and 1/3 of the estimated produce was fixed as the state demand. So it was a rough estimate of produce on the basis of actual inspection and past experience. And the third was a Nazaq system, NASAQ system, was widely prevalent in the Mughal Empire, particularly in Bengal. In this system, a rough calculation was made on the basis of past revenue receipts of the peasants. It required no actual measurement, but the area was ascertained from the records. Now, military administration Mansabdari system. Mansabdari system was a system introduced by Akbar for military administration and territorial commands, grant and revenue to sustain parts of army. His experience led him to conclude, rather than relying on the Irani and Turkish nobles, he should also include Indian Muslims, Sheikhzadas, Afghans and Rajputs in the Mughal army. The Mughal officers, whether Hindus or Muslims, were granted territorial commands in return for military service. They had to bring in some fixed number of men-at-arms, horses and elephants to the field and rated as per the number, which was known as Zats, Z-A-T-S. So they were called Mansabdars of 10, 20, 100 and 1000 and so on. Mansabdar, Man Singh was the first Mansabdar of 7000 Zats and Bhagwan Das was 5000 Zats, enjoyed the privileged position in the Mansabdari system of Akbar. Problems with Mansabdari system. The Mansabdari system was not perfect. The greed of the Mansabdars ate all the grant or revenue and no money was left for the soldiers. There was a general corruption that the Mansabdar dressed their kith and kins, servants, dhobis and malis as soldiers and registered them and sent them back to do what they were doing earlier. The weavers and carpenters were hired to obtain a mansab, and later not a trace of the horse brought by them would be found. Bureaucracy, Office of Diwan. The office of the Diwan was the office of today's minister. It got strengthened in Akbar's reign. The chief Diwan was called Diwani-Kul, D-I-W-N-E-Kul, and was responsible for revenue and finance. He oversaw the imperial treasury and accounts. The Diwan had to submit a daily report to the emperor. Mir Bakshi. The office of Mir Bakshi was in existence since Sultanate era. He was to give appointments and salary letters to the mansabs. The branding of the horses named Dag, D-A-G-H, was under his supervision. He was assisted by other subordinate Bakshis, B-A-K-S-H-I-S. Now Mir Saman. Mir Saman was in charge of the royal workshops, Karkhanas, K-A-R-K-H-A-N-A-S. Mir Saman was in charge of the royal workshops. Sadar Us-Sudur, S-A-D-R S-U-D-U-R. Sadar Us-Sudur was to protect the laws of the Shariat. Qazi ul Quwat was the chief judiciary. Subedar. The governor of a province, Suba, was a Subedar who was directly appointed by the emperor. The usual tenure of a Subedar was 3 years. Introduction of Persian in official works. There was one more feature of Raja Todarmal's system that virtually unified the country. It was enactment that all government accounts should be kept in Persian rather than Hindi. The study of Persian became necessary and it helped Hindus to learn the Persian language and the Muslims to go hand in hand with the talented Hindus. Religious policy. Akbar could not see the validity in the custom that the Hindus should pay more taxes than the Muslims. He also had an insatiable quest in the matters of religion and faith. He was deeply moved by the mystical doctrines of the Persian Sufis, which was revealed to him by Fazi and his younger brother Abul Fazl. Abul Fazl encouraged Akbar for debates on doctrinal and philosophical inquiries. Akbar displayed a curiosity in these discussions. The debate took place in the Ibadat Khana or Hall of Worship. The Ibadat Khana is now recognized to be the Diwan-e Khas, which was founded in 1574 at the city of Fatehpur Sikri. It was opened for Sunni Muslims initially and was open to all religions, with Sufis, Shias, Christians, Zoroastrians, Hindus and Jains. In the Ibadat Khana initially there were disgusting arguments. some of which included a question over the character of Hazrat Muhammad. These discussions, rather than clearing Akbar's doubt, only increased the insatiable religious quest of the emperor. These heated arguments Akbar found that were only to defend the creeds of their own doctrines. Full stop. In the emperor's eyes, there was a true faith in all the faiths, but none of the creed had the master key of the Supreme Being. In 1579, Mazhar-Nama was declared, by which Akbar pounced upon the dominance of the intolerant orthodox and allowed free development of a genuine religious spirit. Mazhar-Nama, which was actually an idea of the father of Abul Fazl and Faizi, said that the authority of the king was higher than that of a Mujtahid, doctor of the faith, and if there is a variance, the emperor's decision should be binding on the Muslims of India. With this edict, Akbar's judgment was set above every legal and religious authority. So it was the promulgation of the doctrine of imperial infallibility. In 1581, the discussions of the Ibadat Khana were discontinued, but quest of Akbar culminated in the quest of Akbar, religious quest of Akbar, culminated in the Tawhid-e-Ilahi, the divine monotheism, or Deen-e-Ilahi. The word Deen was applied decades later. In 1582, this religious doctrine, which combined mysticism, philosophy, and nature worship, was propounded by. In 1582, this religious doctrine, which combined mysticism, philosophy, and nature worship, was propounded by Akbar. This philosophy of Deen-e-Ilahi, which recognized no prophets. Akbar declared himself the spiritual guide of his subjects. His religion, Tawhid-e-Ilahi, favored peace and tolerance. Tawhid-e-Ilahi prohibits lust, sensuality, slander, and pride, considering them sins. Piety, prudence, abstinence, and kindness are the core virtues of this religion. The soul is encouraged to purify itself through yearning of God. It respects celibacy and forbids slaughter of animals. Now, something about Faizi. Faizi was a Persian poet who joined Akbar's suite during the siege of Chittor in 1568. In 1588, he was given the status of Malik-ush-Shuara, court poet of Akbar. He was one of the Navratnas of Akbar. Born in Agra to a scholar in philosophy and Islamic theology, he was educated mostly by his father. Akbar was impressed by the scholarly aptitude of Faizi and appointed him the tutor of the Princess Salim, Murad, and Danial. Badayuni, Badayuni, the contemporary historian, says that he composed over 100 poetic works in Persian. The collection of poems by Faizi was entitled Tabasir al-Subah, Tabasir, Tabasir al-Subah, S-U-B-A-H, which includes ghazals, qasidas, eulogies, qasidas, which is also known as eulogies, rubais, and poems. In 1580, he started working on 5 projects: Nal-o-Daman, Nalodam, Nal-o-Daman, the Markaz-ul-Adwar, the Suleiman-o-Bilqis, the Haft-Keshwar, and the Akbar-Mama, out of which only 2 first works were completed. Faizi also translated Leelavati, the celebrated Sanskrit work in maths by Bhaskaracharya, into Persian. His brother Abu Fazl penned the celebrated work Akbar-Nama. Now about Abul Fazl, the gentle and enthusiastic younger brother of Faizi, which was Abu Fazl, later became a wazir of Akbar. Abul Fazl was a man of wide culture and pure spiritual ideas. He was also one of the Navratnas in the court of Akbar. Abul Fazl was the author of Akbar-Nama, the official histories of Akbar's reign, in 3 volumes. This book gives the history of Akbar's forefathers from Timur to Humayun and Akbar's reign from till 1602. Third volume of above work is known as Ain-e-Akbari, which is the administrative report of Akbar's reign. Another important work of Abul Fazl was Ruqayat, which is a collection of letters to the princes of Akbar and others contemporaries. It was later compiled by his nephew Niruddin Muhammad. Yet another work, Insha-e-Abul Fazl, is the compilation of the letters written by Akbar to various contemporary rulers and nobles. He was also uh, the letters were also compiled by one relative of Abul Fazl. An important point to note here is that one more Akbarnama was written in those times by Sheikh Ilahadad Faizi Sirhindi. This was a derisive work based upon Tabakat-e-Akbari. Tabakat-e-Akbari was written by Nizamuddin Ahmad Mir Bakshi of Akbar. Elements of Deen-e-Ilahi. Deen-e-Ilahi was an eclectic doctrine that contained elements from very diverse fields. It overthrew almost every ceremonial rule, whether Islam or Muslim, but took the good ideas from the Brahmins as well as from missionaries and adopted sun as a symbol of the worship of the Creator. He started a new Ilahi era. The new religion proposed: first, forbade cow eating; second, indifference among all Indians; third, instituted worship of sun as a creator; fourth, incorporated the sacred fire adored by Parsis; fifth, encouraged the Hawana home sacrifice of the Hindus. A small band of the courtiers of Akbar included Faizi, Abul Fazl, Birbar and a few others, immediately professed the new cult, but the rest remained indifferent, if not hostile. This hodgepodge of philosophy, mysticism and nature worship of Akbar's divine faith practically died with him, but left footprints which partially contributed in creation of a nation that was never a united nation before. Fatehpur Sikri. Akbar was a devout visitor to the holy places and tombs of Muslim saints. One of his prime objects was to secure an heir to the throne. Up to the 14th year of reign, none of his children could survive. Up to the 14th year of his reign, none of his children could survive, and he was told to visit a holy man dwelling at Sikri village near Agra. This holy man, Salim Chishti, who was one of the descendants of the Khwaja Moinuddin Chishti of Ajmer, promised and blessed Akbar a son. Akbar placed his wife Hura Kunwari or Jodha under the care of this saint. The Sikri, due to frequent visits of the emperor, became a cradle of development activities and numerous palaces were erected. Salim Chishti set up a new noble mosque in Sikri, and emperor's people built their palaces near this place. The Sikri village became the town of Fatehpur Sikri. It was blessing of this holy saint Salim Chishti that Akbar's first son was safely ushered in this world. Akbar named this child as Salim, with due respect to holy man. This offspring of the great Mughal and the Rajput princess later became Emperor Jahangir. The result of this auspicious event in Fatehpur Sikri was that Akbar showered all the taste and art of the age upon the adornment of this blessed town. The Fatehpur Sikri became the first planned city of the Mughals. It was also the place demonstrating the first heritage of the Mughal architecture, an amalgamation of the Persian, Hindu and Islamic architecture. It was virtually the capital of Akbar from 1571 to 1585. However, later it was abandoned mostly because of the problem of drinking water supply. Today, this beautiful city, though a great tourist destination, is a deserted city. It was abandoned and ever since has remained the desolate and abandoned city. A few years back, some Jain and Hindu idols were found which were dated 1010 AD near Birbal ka Tila site, which have risen out to a hot debate that this beautiful city was actually a great Hindu site that was vandalized by the great Mughal. Whatever may be the truth, but palaces, tombs, mosques, baths, lake and everything at Fatehpur Sikri is a great Indian heritage through which we recognize the grandeur and pomp of Akbar, greatest of Indian emperors. Navratnas in Akbar's court. Abul Fazl. Abul Fazl was the chronicler of Akbarnama in 3 volumes over 7 years. The 3rd volume is known as Ain-e-Akbari. Faizi was Abul Fazl's brother, the poet laureate of Akbar. The name of father of Abul Fazl and Faizi was Mubarak Nagori, a scholar in the philosophy and literature of Greece, as well as in the Islamic theology. Mian Tansen. Mian Tansen was born as Tanna Mishra in 1520. He was a disciple of Swami Haridas and later became a disciple of Hazrat Muhammad Ghaus, GHAUS, Gwalior. He was a court musician with the Prince of Mewar and was later recruited by Akbar as his court musician. Raja Birbal, a poor Hindu Brahmin Mahesh Das, was appointed to the court of Akbar for his intelligence and became the court jester. The name Raja Birbal was given by Emperor. Birbal's duties in Akbar court were mostly military and administrative. He was also a poet and his collections under the pen named Brahma are preserved in Bharatpur Museum. Raja Birbal died in a battle in an attempt to subdue unrest among Afghani tribes in northwest India. Raja Todarmal, a Hindu Khatri, was Akbar's finance minister who from 1560 onwards overhauled the revenue system in the kingdom. Raja Man Singh, the prince of Amber, was a trusted general in Akbar's army and was the grandson of Akbar's father-in-law, Bharmal. Raja Man Singh was the foremost 7,000 Mansabdari and ablest among Akbar's military commanders and assisted Akbar in many fronts, including holding off advancing Hakims, Akbar's half-brother in Lahore. He was also the Mughal viceroy of Afghanistan, led campaigns in Bihar, Odisha, Deccan, and was also the viceroy of Bengal. Abdul Rahim Khani Khana, son of Akbar's trusted general and tutor, best known for his Hindi couplets. Fakir Aziuddin was a Sufi mystic and an advisor. Mullah Do Piazza, an intelligent advisor to Akbar. An intelligence advisor to the great Mughal Emperor Akbar. Now Jahangir, 1605 to 1627. Jahangir Aka Salim was an indolent, self-indulgent and indifferent personality. When he ascended the throne, he was a man of 37 years and had become mature. He should be noted for regulations such as forbidding sale of wine and even tobacco. When he ascended the throne, he was a man of 37 years and had become mature. He should be noted for, first, regulations such as forbidding sale of wine and even tobacco. Second, restoration of Mohammedan faith. Used Hijra chronology on coins, something his father had abandoned, but he was equally tolerant towards Christians and Hindus. He was active in redressing the grievances of the people and had a justice chain and bell attached to the gate of his palace in Agra, so that all who wished to appeal to him could ring him up. However, it is not clear who was eligible to ring the emperor up. Jahangir is known for his pompous display of the justice. He enacted 12 regulations that show his liberalism and judiciousness. He is known for prohibition of some extortion type of cesses such as tamga and controlling the merchants by an enactment which forbade them not to open bales without permission from the government. And controlling the merchants by an enactment which forbade them not to open bales without permission from the government. Shah Jahan, 1627 to 1658. Shah Jahan Aka Khurram was the son of a great Mughal and a Rajput princess, the daughter of Rana of Mewar, Jodhpur. Had more Indian blood in his veins than his forefathers. This haughty introvert man was wrapped in political connivance and was indifferent to the race of his mother. He became the most celebrated among the Mughal emperors but not popular among the Hindus. Connive means secretly allow something immoral, illegal or harmful to occur, or conspire to do something immoral, illegal or harmful. He was a perfect orthodox Muslim, but was more intolerant than his father. When Arjumand Bano Begum Khurram married at the age of 15 years and gave her the title Mumtaz Mahal. Mumtaz Mahal, the lady of the palace, was a mother of 14 children and died on the death of their 14th child. The exquisite monument Taj Mahal is a witness to her husband's devotion. Throughout his life, Shah Jahan kept struggling with revolts. The first big revolt was in Bundelkhand. In 1636, under the Jujhar Singh, the revolt was suppressed and Jujhar Singh was eliminated. Another was under the Lodi remnant Khan Jahan Lodi. This revolt was also suppressed. During Shah Jahan's time, the Portuguese had established a factory at Hooghly in Bengal. The Portuguese had a very constrained religious policy. It was learned that the Portuguese often lifted the orphaned children and converted them to Christianity. This was something objectionable under a rule of a Mughal, who was a devout Muslim. During the reign of Jahangir, the Portuguese lifted 2 slave girls that belonged to Mumtaz Mahal, and they were not released even after it was known to the Portuguese. During the reign of Jahangir, the Portuguese lifted 2 slave girls that belonged to Mumtaz Mahal, and they were not released even after it was known to the Portuguese. In 1631, Qasim Khan was appointed as the governor of Bengal and was given authority to teach a lesson to the Portuguese. The Portuguese were attacked, massacred, and Hooghly was in siege for 3 months. The Portuguese surrendered only after a huge loss of 10,000 lives. 4,000 were made prisoners, who were given an option to either convert to Islam or face lifelong imprisonment. Thus Shah Jahan gave the Portuguese a death blow in Bengal. Later life of Shah Jahan was marred by war of succession. He was imprisoned and later died in obscurity. Aurangzeb from 1658 to 1707. The bigot Mohammedan created a lot of troubles for himself and lost both energy in dealing with the rebellions of Satnamis, Jats, Bundelas, Sikhs, and finally the formidable Marathas. He stopped engraving kalma on coins, forbade the Parsis to celebrate their festival Navaroz, Navaroz. That is, he restricted the Parsis from celebrating their festival Navaroz, released an order to ban the music everywhere, and arrest those who listened to the music. His drink was plain water and he used to sleep on ground. His drink was plain water and he used to sleep on ground, something that made him a Zinda Fakir. Aurangzeb had claimed the throne as a champion of the Orthodox Islam against the heretical practices of his brother Dara. Heretical means a belief or action that is heretical. A belief or action that is heretical is one that most people think is wrong because it disagrees with the beliefs that are generally accepted. Or you can also say that a belief or action that is heretical is one that seriously disagrees with the principles of a particular religion. When he was told that in Banaras the Brahmins have got habitual of teaching their wicked science to the Muslims, an order from His Majesty was given to demolish all the temples. The orders were carried out in the temple of Vishnu at Banaras, and a splendid shrine at Mathura were broken to make room for a mosque. The idols were brought to Agra and buried under the steps of the mosque. His Rajput policy was also filled with a religious fanaticism. When he asked Raja Jaswant Singh to send his sons to Delhi so that they can be taught under his supervision, leading their conversion, all the Rajputs except Raja of Amber were in a state of rebellion. He ended the Mughal pomp of Jharokha Darshan, use of almanacs, ALMANACS, the Mughal custom of weighing the emperor in gems, distributing the wealth to the poor on coronation anniversaries. He reintroduced Jizya. In summary, he did all the was never done by his great-grandfather, grandfather and father. This was enough to shake the foundation of Mughal Empire, which was based upon religious tolerance. Aurangzeb was the last important Mughal ruler, and after him the Mughal Empire rapidly decayed and was finally put to an end by the British. The king reigned for half a century and died in 1707, leaving behind a war of succession. He now lays in peace at Khuldabad near Aurangabad. Later Mughals. Bahadur Shah I from 1707 to 1712 Aurangzeb was succeeded by his son Muazzam, Muazzam, who ascended the throne as Bahadur Shah I in 1707. His reign was just 5 years till 1712, and during this time he tried to get rid of the strict edicts of his father. He was not able to eliminate Jizya, but supported music. Now people could hear the songs again. He tried to establish peace with the Sikhs and Marathas. He died in 1712 when he was overseeing the repair works at Shalimar Gardens at Lahore. He was followed by his son Jahandar Shah, Jahandar Shah. Jahandar Shah from 1712 to 1713 AD. After his father Bahadur Shah I died, he ascended the throne after eliminating his brother Azim Us Shan. He had married a dancing girl who became the queen consort. His nephew Farrukhsiyar attacked him and defeated him. He was arrested and jailed by Farrukhsiyar, who later executed him. Farrukhsiyar 1713 AD to 1719 AD. Farrukhsiyar was a despicable poltron who suffered similar fate 6 years later in 1719. He sat on the throne with the help of two wazirs of the Mughals, Sayyid Hasan Ali Khan Barha and Sayyid Hussain Ali Khan Barha. Known as the Sayyid brothers. In 1770, the British East India Company purchased duty-free trade rights in all of Bengal for peanuts worth rupees 3,000 per year from this so-called emperor. He lolled the throne as a puppet in the hands of the Sayyid brothers, and when there was an enmity with these two kingmakers, they deposed him, imprisoned him, starved him, blinded him, and finally finished him. The Sayyid brothers placed his cousin Rafi-ud-Darajat on the throne in 1719. Rafi-ud-Darajat, the 11th Mughal emperor, was proclaimed by Sayyid brothers in 1719, who could survive only for 4 months and died of some mysterious disease. He was succeeded by Muhammad Shah Rangile or Rangila. Muhammad Shah Rangile 1719 to 1748. Muhammad Shah Rangile was able to keep the throne for around 29 years, partially because the first thing he did was to eliminate the Sayyid brothers. During his time, Nadir Shah attacked and looted Delhi and took the peacock throne with himself. The invasion of Nadir Shah fastened the disintegration of Mughal Empire. During his time, the states of Hyderabad, Bengal, Awadh were established as independent kingdom.